Okay, so if I have log g plus log y, I can put them together now and make it into a single log. The two shall become one, sort of like marriage of the logs. Of what? gy. All right. And if I wanted to, I could break them apart if I had, I guess, sort of like a course. We have log of xy could break into what? Log of x plus log of y. All right. And of course, it can get much more complicated. What if there was also a divided by m in here? Well, then these guys have to be subtract what? Log m. Because a subtract goes with a divide. I'll show that a little more clearly by just doing a simple one. Log x minus log y would be log of x divided by y. Because the minus goes with the divide. Then the other thing you learned was about how powers can go. All right, I'll answer this question first. Read the problem again. Log xy over m. Okay. X. Good question. I put them there because anytime you have a fraction, you really should have a parentheses around what's on the top. But in this case, it won't matter. What it would have mattered is if this would have been like this. Now I'd have to have the parentheses in there when I did this problem. Because I'd have log x minus, and if I just say log m, and then this means plus, log plus log y, you can see where the problem would be. I'd only be subtracting this one. Why not the other one? It really should have parentheses. So it's just safer to put parentheses when you have a big fraction. And that way you can't get burned by that kind of thing. All right, so think of that as having a parentheses. All right, now, what are we doing different today? Really not much. We're just going to be going and making them a little bit harder, a little bit more complicated. Okay, so let's just have you practice one right now that's not quite so complicated yet. Let's say there's 2 out front, and there's x minus the log of b. Tell me what you think that would be. Just write the answer on your paper, and then right. Get some virtual paper up there. What do you think it is? You are correct. The little squared goes on both of them. If you wanted to say log of x squared over b squared, that would also be good. All right, any questions about that one? Okay, what if this whole thing, I was subtracting another log of m, let's say? Then how would I change this? Then I'd need another divided by, because it's a subtract, divided by what? No. And would I be able to leave it that way? Sadly, no. You'd need to do some simplifying here. So how do I simplify that part? I just put in parentheses. I would first need to square both of those things. So it would be x squared over p squared over m. And remember, it's always log of that. And then, if instead of dividing by m, I could times by 1 over m. You know what I just did there? I changed the divide m to a times 1 over m. And then I can say the final answer is log x squared over p squared m. All right, one thing I noticed that a lot of kids were not awesome at is this kind of thing. X squared over p to the third. They weren't sure if they should multiply or add those. Which one, or how about this? Why don't you write what you think the final answer is to that? This is just a more base question. I don't even care if there's a log in. Just see if you know how to do a power to a power. There's 2 common mistakes people make. Oh, okay. Sorry. That really looked like your cell phone. Okay. Try this one on your paper if you haven't already. Throw Mr. U. What do you think this would be? You are correct. You have to do this to both things, And when you do a power, a lot of kids, it's not, it's multiplied. All right. Then what if we had this? X squared times 2 to the 5th. What should I start with? Should I go in the parentheses first? Yes, I should. So what's in the parentheses would come out to x to the what? 5th. X to the 5th. To the 5th. And now it's here. X to the 21st. That is a times. Okay. If it was a minus, you couldn't do any of that. You could, it would be really complicated, because putting it to the 5th, you would not just put this to this and this to that. It would be complicated. You'd have to say x squared minus x to the 3rd times x squared minus x to the 3rd times x squared minus x to the 3rd. And you have to do that 5 times. Tell me that's not complicated. It is. If you just put it to the 5th, there was a minus in there. Then you can't just put each thing to the 5th. You have to rewrite the whole thing times itself, and it ends up being this gigantic, scary FOIL problem. All right, moving on. Here is a typical problem from today's. In fact, why don't we just do one of today's numbers? Here we go. Handing them out. It's on the easier side today, so we're ready to jump in right now. Or 5. I'm glad you're using the answers in a wise manner. It'll make the person who's in charge of making those answers feel like they're not wasting their time. It does depend, but often Mrs. Richens gets credit for putting those up for you. Yeah, I know these are kind of delightfully easy. I almost feel like I'm doing something wrong. I must be supposed to be assigning 2 worksheets or something, but it's just what it is. So be happy you're in the light phase of this class. All right, 2 ln x minus parentheses ln x plus ln y. Does it seem like it'd be a good idea to start in parentheses? Yes, so you start in there. And then this part right here can be put together. Ln xy. Very good. I'm going to rewrite this first part. Now, I shouldn't, though, forget to do something to the 2 there. The 2 especially. Could be squaring the x. So I say ln x squared minus. See, I did 2 steps. Don't try to do it all in your head. Do some work. Because remember, when you have the test, if all you have is the answer, people will not give you credit. You have to show some work along the way, just like this. All right, and the final answer is ln, and then you'd have squared over xy, and that's not even the final answer. And canceling, final answer, ln is what? X over y. There's the final answer. Show some work along the way. I know, some of these can be done in your head, but just get used to the process of showing a little work. Okay, I really feel like this is something you can do on your own, and don't need too long of a lesson for. So